Today I'm going to talk about how you can write a really good history essay and get really good grades. So first of all, I just want to say that I know it's really hard. I think it's one of the hardest papers to really get a good grade on, but I think it's very rewarding because at the end of the day you'll just realize that it just changes the way that you think, and you might just think it's really tedious, but even like when you go to university, if you use this method, this IB method, you would find that you would be getting like second class, at least second class, if not first class. Someone once said history is like drinking an ocean and pissing a cup, and that is really true. You really are. First of all, I think you have to think about what makes a good argument. You have to be confident, you have to be objective, you have to be clear, and you have to be succinct. So Albert Einstein once said that if you cannot explain something to like a child, you don't understand it at all. And I think history is like that. So you can't BS. This is not business. You really cannot BS, because if you BS, the examiner will smell it, really. Secondly, to have a strong argument, you need to counter-argue your points. So while you're arguing for, like, let's say pigs are pink, you also kind of show that you are thinking about other arguments. But remember that your argument should still be stronger. Show that you have considered all sides of the coin, and that's kind of dumb because there's only two sides of a coin. But show that you have considered all other aspects. And finally, question the question. So if the question is, why are pigs pink? Then you can ask, are pigs actually pink? They could be like a black pig, a brown pig, you know. This is a very unacademic example, but finally, if you're going to use personal opinion, keep it to only one sentence, and also cite other academics, cite other historians to show that, just to increase credibility. If you do that, then your argument is going to be strong, because how can they counter you if you've already, like, touched on everything else? So okay, it's just for how to make a good argument, and I think that's just how you should approach a history essay. Very basically, the structure is a thesis statement, just a thesis statement, one sentence answering the question, and a few paragraphs for the body, and assumptions paragraph, and then a conclusion. So, and point, evidence, explain, and link. That's the basics that you should know. I'm really sorry about this lighting change, just because my DSLR is giving me a lot of problems. So in terms of structure, my first tip is that be specific when you have a topic sentence. You should have a very clear topic sentence. Don't just say, the French Revolution occurred because of economical problems. You have to say, the French Revolution occurred because of economical problems such as blah blah blah. So really point it out. Have a really clear topic sentence, and because you have to act like you know what you're talking about. And then in each paragraph, you should have historiography, an interesting fact, like an interesting, like, out of the textbook fact that shows that you have been reading, out of the books, really. And then make sure you elaborate really well. It's more important to show in-depth knowledge rather than just throwing out random facts everywhere. Remember to quote a historian in every single paragraph. If you can, also counter that historian. So you can say, like, this historian says this, but this other historian disagrees with this person. And finally, answer the question. In every single paragraph, you should be tying your answer back to the question. Always, don't go off topic, don't go off tangent, just stick to the question, answer the question in depth. But you can, alright, for the assumptions part, you can not only, like, question the assumption, but you can also, like, pull out other questions. For example, you can say, like, and this leads us to other wider questions, such as, is the French Revolution still occurring today? It's not at the top of my mind now, but I will leave, like, some examples of my old work. I'm sorry the lighting is changing a lot just because I had to go out, but now I'm back. Okay. First of all, don't study everything. One thing I did, which is kind of risky, was that I looked at the past papers. So let's say if you were taking your exam in May, you look at what came out in May, and then like, especially if you're in higher level, that you don't have to study that topic that much in depth. This is risky, but that's what I did. Secondly is don't stress over facts. Realize that facts are just facts. When it boils down to the essay itself, it's really the arguments that you bring forth that matters. I would say when you're in class, I never like went crazy over like taking down all the facts, but instead I tried to listen to the different arguments that different classmates brought up or the teacher brought up, and that made my essay richer, I think. If you can show many different arguments, it shows that you can think critically, you can criticize yourself, and that's what examiners really like. Facts will come later, I think, but do take some facts down, but not like everything, you know? And not just the arguments, talk to like really opinionated people. These are the kind of the best people that you want to talk to, because they'll be like throwing out this argument, that argument, and you could really use it to write a really good essay. So keep out for that. The next thing I did was I used iTunes Podcast. iTunes Podcast is amazing because you can be like on the road and you could like listen and you might pick out something, and it might help you to get a good overview. Next is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is great because these articles have an abstract, and you can just read the abstract and get the main argument out and just quote the writer. Another advice that I was told not to have was to not have set structures, but I had set structures for like every single topic. I knew like what facts I was going to use, what arguments I was going to use, and I just tweaked it to the question. So remember again, to answer the question, you can twist the facts and the figures to answer the question. So that's what you should do really. You should also designate a specific folder a few months before your exam of just really concise notes, so you know exactly what you're going to read right before the exam. Okay, so how exactly did I study for my exams? I condensed my notes a lot. For example, I would look at my textbook and I would literally break down everything in the textbook. I would, especially for my higher level topics, because I did Middle East, I would have a topic sentence and then I would write all the key points or the key arguments in my textbook, and then I just kept condensing it. And the next tip is to write your essays until it is a level 7. So if let's say you get a 5, rewrite it again and rewrite it again and rewrite it until you get the top grade. So that's important. I think structure is probably one of the most important things if you want to score well. The overview and everything, so I watched a lot of YouTube videos and like podcasts and stuff like that, which I already said. I don't think you can fake history understanding. I don't know. For me, I can't fake it. So just keep reading a lot. I wrote essays and had set plans for everything. There's one way to write an essay without actually writing an essay. So you write the thesis statement and you write topic sentences for all your essays, and bullet points in sentences like the key arguments. So I'll leave an example so you'll understand what I mean. The next tip is to record yourself. So I took notes and I recorded myself, so I was always listening to myself on the go. And the last tip is to analyze top grade essays. That's what I did. So if you get a essay that it's a level 7 or you get an exemplar essay, analyze it as in pull out all the structure that the person used, and like look at what made that essay so good and emulate it in your own work. That's exactly what I did. I always had a top grade essay beside mine while I was writing my essay so that I could copy the style. And yeah. As for IA, for your internal assessment, I think there's no excuse. You should get the best grade that you can just because you're given a lot of time. Also, there's a book that I use. There's a book, I will leave the link down below, but it really helped me. Don't stress, because everything starts off like crap. You will have no idea what you're doing, and it's stressful reading so many books, but everything starts off badly. I don't think like any piece of work starts off good. Have the marking scheme next to you all the time, and finally, just let a lot of people read your internal assessment. Give it to all your history teachers, If you know anyone that's really smart, let them read your essay, let them criticize your essay, because criticism is good. And I think that is it, really. Good luck with your history exam and internal assessment. And I hope this video helped you. I try not to like talk about things that you might already know. So yeah. If you like this video, please subscribe, because I do need more subscribers. Thank you.